Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, how about your Colorado women's basketball program, ranked number 3 in the country after a big win over Stanford? We're going to talk with head coach J.R. Payne. The men get the victory over USC, awaiting the Oregon schools this week. We'll talk with head coach Tad Boyle. Lacrosse just around the corner, and Elliot Whitten, the head coach of the women's lacrosse program in her 10th season. And also, we'll catch up on what's happening in CU Athletics with athletic director Rick George. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
That is 9 straight wins for the CU Buffs. 15-1 on the season. That is their best start since the 1992-93 season, and they remain perfect at home. They are the real deal. Colorado beating Stanford 71-59.
What a victory for the CU women's basketball program as Colorado knocks off number 8 Stanford in a top 10 matchup at the Event Center. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. Boy, she's the toast of Boulder, Colorado right now, J.R. Payne. Well, you got to be having a little bit of fun, don't you?
We are having a lot of fun, yes. The games have been great. Practices are great. We're feeling good. It's been a great year so far.
That, by the way, the first top 10 matchup for the Buffaloes here in town since 1994.
Yeah.
A nip and tuck game for the entire first half.
It was a tough game. Yeah, we actually kind of came out slowly. We were down, had to call a timeout to try to, get us going. And sub Kendall Whitten in the game, and she changed the game, and the rest is history.
I said to Tad after the game the other night against USC, I said it must have been a heck of a halftime speech. You guys go on a 20-2 run and say, what did you say at halftime?
Honestly, I don't really remember. And then I didn't even realize it was such a big run. I mean, I know it was a run, but 20-2. Sometimes we'll go in periods where we can score really well, but when you can score and get stops at the same time, to have a run like that saved our bacon, I think.
A lot of times when a team gets a run, it can be hot shooting, it can be great defense. What was it for you?
Both.
Yeah,
I mean, both. To be able to do them at the same time, I think, against such a good team, so well coached, so veteran-laden, like Stanford's really good, so to be able to do that, I think you had to be pretty good on both ends.
The one thing I've always thought in sports, you see teams that start to achieve greatness, and you can, if you look backwards, you can kind of see the table being set.
Yeah.
The way you've built this program. During that process was having success against, let's be honest, a standard bearer in women's basketball has been Stanford. You start having success against them. And so now when Colorado plays Stanford, your team just thinks, well, it's just a game we play.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we've always played Stanford in particular very tough, even when truly we had no business, really competing the way that we were. So something about that team, has always kind of sparked us. But over the past few years, we've continued, as you said, to get better and better, and then having some big wins, UCLA, Oregon, different teams that historically we couldn't beat. I think that's just created an environment now where we truly believe we can beat anybody.
This ball game in the backcourt, you mentioned Kendall Whitten. Jalen Schrod, Kendall Whitten were outstanding all day long, weren't they?
Oh, my goodness, yeah. The two of them are, they're both pretty consistently good. When they're special like that, they can change the game offensively and defensively. It's a pretty great thing for a coach.
The way this thing continues to build, JR, you continue to win. You continue to have marquee games and marquee wins. What does that do for a team that as it moves on?
We're just confident. We feel very good about who we are, what we're about, what we're made of. We know how we respond. Things aren't always going to be sunshine and roses. When things start to go sideways, we know what we need to do to come back together, regroup, refocus, and get back, where we need to be.
That's part of the maturation process and kind of having a championship mentality, right?
Definitely.
The fact that you don't focus on what just went wrong, you just know you're going to be right moving forward.
Yeah, and we're vocal. Like our veterans talk in our timeouts almost as much as I talk. When things aren't going the way we want them to, they help kind of correct the ship and, figure out what we need to do and how we're going to get there, and it's a pretty fun group to coach.
So the Buffaloes right now, number 3 in the country, to get a big victory over Stanford. Afterward, we heard from the players. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
When we talked to Coach Payne coming off the floor at halftime, she mentioned Kendall Whitten is the best defender in this league. How much pride do you take in that defensive effort in your game?
Yeah, so much. Ever since I've come here as a freshman, that's kind of been my thing is I can impact the game in a defensive way whenever I step on the floor. And so I take a lot of pride in that.
How much do you hear? I'm curious. When you're on the floor, you get some of those quick steals, you force some of those turnovers. You got to hear some of the chatter, right?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's fun. I don't respond, but I definitely hear it.
There's some of the post-game comments as the Buffaloes knock off Stanford in that top 10 matchup. The crowd, by the way, was spectacular for this ball game. Over 9,000 fans in that game, and I know your team was feeding off that.
They were incredible. I mean, the team is playing well. We're feeling good. All of that is great. To have that type of fan support, we've never had it, you know, like that. We've played in front of big crowds at Oregon or, you know, wherever, but to have them at home is so special, and it means everything to us.
What does it say to you and this team, though, and about this, you know, the Buff Nation and the basketball community, the way they're jumping on board here and supporting this program?
Yeah, I mean, it means so much. You know, we've seen big crowds at men's games. We've had a couple bigger crowds, you know, over the years, but I really, truly feel like this is becoming, at least for this part of the year, a basketball town. 10,000 at the men's game, 9,000 at our game. I'm hoping that that's going to continue because it means so much to our players.
Jerry, where you're sitting right now, I mean, you're number 3 in the country. You've got major wins this season. You now become the hunted at this point. I mean, no, you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore, right?
No, we're not sneaking up on anyone. Right. You know, the great thing about our team, we've built our program on under-recruited but really tough, hardworking kids. You know what I mean? That's sort of our DNA is blue collar. We outwork people. We want to be really tough. So even though we do have a 3 in front of our name, and that is incredible and so well deserved, you know, by our team, we're naturally wired to feel a little salty. You know, to feel like, okay, we got something to prove. Chip on our shoulder. And so the ranking really doesn't matter to us. Like, it's wonderful. We're proud of it. It's great, but we just want to win. You know, and we're trying to take everybody out.
There are 2 ways you can go. You can get drunk in your own wine, as Tad likes to say all the time, or you can just use that as continued, okay, we've achieved something, we want to achieve more. Right?
Want to achieve more. And we also recognize that the reason that we're in this position is because of the work we've put in.
Lastly, before we let you go, we talked about the first top 10 matchup since 1994. This Friday night, UCLA, number 2 comes to town. First top 5 matchup ever.
It will be incredible, and we're really hoping to have a sellout. You know, in the event center will be the first one in a really long time for us. But it's going to be 2 of the best teams in America, you know, squaring off Friday night.
You want to talk about a heavyweight matchup? Friday night, be there. J.R. Payne, the Buffaloes, number 3, take on number 2, UCLA, at the event center. We'll take a timeout. We're talking men's hoops coming up next. Cross-court pass. KJ dumps it inside. Eddie down to 2, down to 1. Hook shot with the right hand. He beat the buzzer. Big Eddie with the bucket, and it's 4-2 Colorado. KJ off the left-hand side. Drives against Ornery on his way to the hoop. Slams with the right hand. He leaps. He flies. He jams. Right there by DeSilva. Falling out of bounds. Threw it away. Look out below. Cody to the rim. He cocks the arm. He unleashes with the tomahawk. And the Buffs are on top by 6. Holy cow. Hands it right side. KJ open for 3. Fires right between the eyes. From downtown. A dagger. Well, it was a great second half for the Colorado men's basketball program as they knocked off USC 68-58. Here at the Event Center. Hi, everybody. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, back in the Buffalo Stampede. Not a great start. Buffs are coming off a 3-game road trip in which they dropped all 3 games in desperate need of a victory, and they came out slow. In fact, fell behind by 16 points with about 3 minutes left in the first half. But the second half came out and dominated over the Trojans on Wednesday night at Corelli's in Boulder. During Buffs Primetime, we talked about the ball game with head coach Tad Boyle. Powered by Ford. Cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America. Built Ford proud. A lot of excitement around the basketball right now.
Yes.
So should we talk about, let's see, the first half or the second half of the game on Saturday?
Well, let's talk about the second half.
Which means you teed me up, we'll talk about the first half, right?
Yeah.
That was, whatever you said at halftime must have been brilliant.
I wish that was the case.
Yeah.
Whatever doesn't say much for my pregame speech, does it? That's for sure. So, but no, look, it's you've seen our team play, a lot now this year, and it's a little bit about who we are. And until I told our team after the game, Mark, until we figure out that it's a 40-minute game, we got to play for 40 minutes. It's going to be like that. And traditionally, we've been really good in the first half this year, and we've not been maybe as good in the second half, at least defensively. And this one was just the opposite. So, credit goes to the players for waking up and not panicking. And I always the old coach in me, the younger coach, I should say, would have just lit him up and blistered him at halftime. And I don't know if it's I'm getting soft or I'm mature, and I don't know, maybe it's a combination of both. But like
you're just tired.
Yeah, maybe so. I just felt like they did not need. They were as frustrated as I was,
right.
and as the fans were, and it's that's just part of it. So it's. I always say, Mark, I made a distinction a few years ago. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coaching today. I'd probably be 6 feet under with a heart attack, because I had to figure out, what do you get angry at as a coach?
Okay.
And what do you get frustrated at? We've talked about this maybe in the past a little bit, and I had to really delineate the difference, because frustration is going to come. I mean, it's just going to come every single day, whether it's in practice or the games. Anger needs to be, separated. And I've told our team, I think if you ask Tristan De Silva or Luke, two of our seniors, what will coach get mad at? What will we get angry at? Lack of effort, lack of concentration, and selfishness. Those things, you're going to draw my ire. And
non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah.
So the fact is, in the first half, our ineptitude or not playing well was not a result of one of those three things, in my opinion, at that time. So I thought our effort was good. Look, we missed some easy shots that we normally make. We didn't execute, and our spacing wasn't good, and that sort of thing. So those are the things we talked about at halftime, our cutting. And our defense wasn't good enough. And I said, we got to figure out different ways to win a game. And tonight, the way we got to win this second half is we got to dictate with our defense. And it's funny, you mentioned JR's team. I went to watch them play Stanford, and she'll probably talk about this, but like in the first quarter and a half or so, they were kind of trading baskets blow to blow,
yep.
And Stanford was playing well. But man, when they got out and they dictated with their defense and created offense with their defense, I mean, the game changed, and that's what happened with us in the second half against USC.
Yeah. Well, there's the head coach, Tad Boyle. By the way, come on out on Monday night from 7 until 8 o'clock here in Boulder. Join us at Corelli's of Boulder for Buffs Prime Time. So now the Colorado men's team getting ready for the Oregon schools coming to town. The Oregon Ducks are in here on Thursday night. It's a late ball game. By the way, they come in 5-0 in Pac-12 conference play. That one will tip off at 8:30. We're going to hit the air on the Colorado Basketball Network at 8 o'clock with the Buffs warm-up pregame show. Coming up next here to Stampede, we're talking lacrosse, and Elliot Whitten, the head coach, will join us after a break. Well, there's some more highlights of the indoor track activity in the Potts Invitational, the indoor practice facility back at the Buffalo Stampede. On Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Believe it or not, despite what's going on with the weather right now, very soon, and Elliot Whitten will be playing lacrosse outside. You got some groundwork to do.
Yeah, we got a little work to do, but our first game's against Louisville, and honestly, the last time we played them here, it was a snowstorm, and we had to move the game inside, so probably right on par for us to get practicing.
Can you play lacrosse on skates? Because that may have to be the case, the way things are going right now. Okay, tell us about the fall season. That wrapped up. How'd you feel about the way things went in fall?
Good. We have an exciting team. We got some great competition. We played Northwestern, Marquette, Denver. I think really grew as a team, starting to find our identity. A lot of young players that are stepping up, and a lot of our older players, contributing in big ways and finding new leadership roles.
Coming off a nice season a year ago, who comes back? Who's the kind of the cornerstone of this team right now?
Yeah, I think right now, we have a good portion of our attack back, for us, with some of our senior class there that we're really expecting to step up. Ashley is back, Morgan is back, Madeline's back, who played some last year, and I think will have a big role for us. Sydney's back. So we have a great group there, I think, on offense, and then some people we brought in as well, and some of our younger players that will step up. And then we have a big group. I think a lot of our freshman class last year played. They're now sophomores, and we expect them to contribute in a big way on all ends of the field.
The Buffs lose 8 from 2023. You bring in 10, 9 freshmen and a transfer. Give us kind of a sense of this freshman class of 9 players.
Yeah, this is a great class. They play all positions. I think a lot of them will contribute from the beginning, and a lot of them are in great positions to continue to grow and I think impact our program into the future. We're excited about them. They bring a lot of energy, competitiveness. We have a small team, so everybody's playing a big role in what we're doing every day. We have a transfer from Northwestern we're really excited about to add to our offense. Think she will fit in great and bring a lot for us in terms of what we lost.
Depending upon the sport, football's a little different from basketball in terms of having to count on freshmen. Is lacrosse a sport where you count on freshmen being a big part of your team?
Yeah, I think for us, every year we've had freshmen that play in big roles. I think that'll be the same this year. We'll need them to be successful. I think we'll have a lot of sophomores too. As I said last year, I think almost pretty much all of our freshmen played last year, and now they're back as sophomores. I think, on top of our upperclassmen that we have, they'll have a pivotal role in terms of our success.
The Buffaloes getting ready for the spring season coming up. That starts, by the way, February 11th against Louisville, as Coach mentions. Well, what does the move to the Big 12 mean for you and your sport?
We're excited, for it. I think it opens up a lot of different opportunities scheduling-wise. We're really excited that the Big 12 announced that they'll sponsor lacrosse, so we're working on that right now, finalizing the affiliates that will fill out that conference. But it gives us a neat opportunity to play different teams. The other teams out west, it's not like we're all beating up on each other now. They'll be playing in the Big 10, in the ACC. I think it's going to create a lot and help the sport grow.
You mentioned Louisville, so you started home February 11th, so you got the Cardinals coming to town. Talk about your schedule after that.
Yeah, we're kind of right into it. We play Louisville, we go play Penn State, we play St. Joe's, we come back, we play Northwestern, and then we're off to Michigan to play Central Michigan and Michigan. So our first few weeks, we're in it. Right. And playing some top teams, and I think that's what this team's excited about. They want to compete at the highest level, and we're going to make sure we're ready to go this year.
All right, as you're getting ready for that season, don't shovel too hard here to get that field cleared off. There's Elliot Whitten. The lacrosse season underway February 11th with Louisville coming to town as you get the spring season underway. We'll go ahead and take a time out here to Stampede. We're talking with the boss, Rick George, the athletic director, next. Now there's some more highlights from the Potts Invitational at the indoor practice facility as the Buffs track and field program getting their indoor season underway. Back in the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Every once in a while throughout the year, we get together with athletic director Rick George, get an update on what's going on within the athletic department, and we call it Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. Here's the Buffs boss.
Hey, Buff Nation. Welcome to Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. We come to you from the Eric and Kim Belcher Rooftop Lounge. No, it's not Rick's Lounge. That's not true.
It's Rick's Bar.
It's Rick's Bar. And it's a fireside chat here on a cold day in Boulder, Colorado. We get together on occasion throughout the year and kind of discuss some of the things going on with Colorado athletics. Yep. First off,
what do you want to talk about?
Well, how was your holidays, first off?
Holidays were great. How about yours?
Very nice.
I hope Buff Nation had a great holiday.
I think they did. Did you get something nice in the stocking or a lump of coal?
It was probably a lump of coal.
And by the way, speaking of lump or limping, well, you're limping around. What?
I had a little surgery on the ankle, but all's good and recovering and moving forward.
It's going to cut down your 40 time.
I don't run 40s anymore.
I wouldn't think so. Well, it's been a good year to be a Colorado Buffalo. Let's start jumping in and talking athletics. Let's talk basketball a little bit. This women's team, just incredible. A legitimate Final Four caliber team that JR's got.
Yeah, they are. And we had that expectation going into the year. JR's done a great job with this team, and they go out there and play hard every game. They get a little behind, and then they come back, and, they just nothing phases them. And what JR has done with that team is really great for our program, and it's great for the athletic department and the university.
Rick, it says something as well in this kind of microwave society in which we live. You as an administrator showing patience with JR as she built this thing. That was awful important to give a coach time, isn't it?
Yeah, look, if you look at her history, she's always built the program, made it a lot better than it was. To get to this level in that short period of time is significant, and I'm glad she's going to be our coach for a long time, and I'm excited about what's left with women's basketball.
As we're standing here at Wilson Field right now, and you got the field just over our cameraman's shoulder over there, such an exciting season out there with football. And here in Colorado, you got that going on. You got great excitement with both these basketball teams all winter long. That's why I say it's good to be a Buff right now.
No, it is good to be a Buff, and Coach Prime has done a great job in the transfer portal again. We're going to welcome some players in this weekend to start school on Tuesday, and we're excited about welcoming them to our campus. But we got the #1 transfer portal class in the country, which is significant, and it's going to bode well for us this fall. And look, this community has benefited greatly. Yes. $116 million is estimated of the economic impact of our football season, somewhere between $17 million and $21 million per game. We need the Boulder community to step up and support our program through NIL, through sponsorships, through support. And that'll be important for us as we move forward, because we know the NIL is a really important piece of college athletics right now. So again, I hope the business community steps up and supports us because this year is going to be even better than last.
That's a great transition. We talk about the NIL. We got Buffs for Life. We got the 5430 Foundation. Those are the avenues in which Buff Nation and the Boulder community can kind of step up and really come alongside Colorado athletics.
Yeah, they can. I mean, both foundations are great. The Buffs for Life and the 5430 are great foundations, great collectives that support our student athletes, and we need that to be an important part of our future as well.
You know, big things on the horizon here. As we're saying goodbye to the Pac-12, we do have the Pac-12 Track and Field Championships coming up here.
Yeah, we do, and we've done a redo of Pottsfield, and it's going to be a great place for us to host that championship. We're excited about that. We're prepared for it, and I think our fans that attend that are going to be really happy with the changes that we've made out there at that facility.
From this transitional point we're talking about, the Pac-12. We just saw football wrap up, basketball wrap up here shortly. The spring sports will wrap up, and then we've got our transition to the Big 12. What is going on from an administrative standpoint, kind of the X's and O's of making that transition?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got a team put together that's kind of our point team on this transition into the Big 12. We'll matriculate there on August 2nd of 24. Now we're focused on the Pac-12. We want to win championships. We want to be competitive. We want to do some great things there. And then when we get to August 2nd of 24, then we'll focus on the Big 12. But I think it's going to be exciting to have different teams come into our venues.
Yeah.
I think our fans will really embrace that. So, you know, we've got a lot ahead there. I mean, we're actually doing a lot here too. Still, you know, that transition's important. But, you know, what we're doing with the scoreboard in Folsom Field, it's going to create a better environment for our fans. There's a cost with that. It's a $15 million board. We've begun that build already. We're going to do a place where on our website where the fans can look at the progress that we're making.
So kind of a live camera type.
Yeah, a live camera that they'll be able to see. We need to raise money for that. We need to raise somewhere between $3 to $5 million for that board, and we're focused on that right now because we want it to be a great experience for our fans, and we've got a lot to do ahead of us.
This board's kind of exciting. Now it's on the south end, so on the loop end, if you will, where the Colorado logo is down there. And help us understand this. So you got the board on the inside of the stadium, and there's a feature on the outside as well, correct?
Yeah, there's a feature on the outside where it's live video that will be on the outside of that. So people will, if you can't get a ticket to get into the game, you can sit on the outside and watch that game and have that environment and the sound of the football stadium. So, you know, that's important for us, and it's important for us to deliver that to our fans because our fans have been very patient with us, and they've supported us in a strong way over the last 10 years with a lack of success that we've had. But I think as we move forward, we want that board to be a huge part of the environment here that's going to create that home field advantage that Coach Prime needs.
Yeah, and as Rick is talking about, the fundraising continues out there. Our friends at Learfield have certainly helped out with a great part of that board, but there's more work to be done.
Yeah, there's a lot more work to be done, and we're going to focus on that. And then we get a lot of questions about what about the west side? We all know that the west side needs to be fixed. That's something that we're looking at. We don't have a timeline of that right now. Hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to discuss that in more detail, but you know, we want to basically make the structure look the same, but the insides will obviously be a lot different, and there will be 4 floors that will have different amenities and different things that we'll be doing on those floors. So that's ahead too, and there's a lot we need to do in the next few years. You know, we're going to need support from the business community and from our donors and our Buff Club to be able to get that done.
There's Rick George, the athletic director here at the University of Colorado, and our Ralphie's Rundown with Rick, getting an update on the athletic department direction, all that's going on at CU Athletics. It's going to be an exciting 2024 to be a Buffalo. That'll wrap up this week's Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Boss, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.